All right, greetings everybody. Hello YouTubers. We are doing this live on Twitch, so there might be some audio things that play. Don't worry, I'm sure it's fine. Today we're taking a look at Ragen. Ragen is a brand new character added to JP, long teased, long awaited, and finally in the game. So the real question is here, was he worth the wait? Well, today's video is going to be a little bit interesting because we're going to be doing some initial testing, mainly because we don't have the Wotv calc numbers up. I'm doing this very early to when he came out, and so we're just going to take a compulsory peek, such as it is, at this character and whether he's not or he's any good. But first, the controversy. Say hello to Ragen's Limit Burst. Doesn't it look cool? It's actually like the name of it dates back to like FFB, which has to do with chaining in that game, and the fact that it is supposed to be an 8/ attack, but because we in FFB are just too cool, it's actually a 3-hitter. Don't blame me, it's not my fault. Go your complaints to Gumi if you feel so inclined to. But the thing that's kind of interesting about this character is he is, for all intents and purposes, really a true dual elemental character, and that's pretty cool, and I think actually really like a strong point to him. But yeah, taking a look, we can see a little bit of his stats here. We'll see a little bit more of what he can be built to in the near future, but TMR, because TMRs are important, right? This is part of the value from a character. This is a 3-turn boost to both fire and ice elemental attacks, which is kind of interesting. Ragen is a character that can really be put on a fire team or an ice team, but just looking at him, I really think that the team that's going to benefit the most from him is like a job VC team. Because, I mean, you can mix and match elements here, but I think you really are going to be wanting to get the most out of him of putting on that element, because he kind of has good matchups into different elementals, providing that he can survive. And while there's no real easy way to say this, let's jump over to a map and take a peek at statistics. Numbers, high numbers, low numbers, and everything in between. We'll even go to his new sword map, which isn't terribly impressive for difficulty, but thank goodness for that. Easy farm. All right, so here he is, Ragen at 140 into the reincarnation. 99 speed, 8500 HP, 1791 for attack, 15 defense, 6 spirit. Now, let's compare, because if you look here, we are looking at both the Chaos Odin Vision card, the Fenrir card, which is a lot of attack boost. Not that I don't have that already in this party, so okay. We also have Fenrir here, providing a interesting thing, an interesting bunch of stats, because, you know, I was kind of expecting Chaos Bahamut just to be thrown on everything from now on. But here we have Fenrir, which is not like the first summon that you would probably think of when putting on a mostly offensive character. But again, really quickly, compulsory look at other character stats. I just realized that my Snow has 1700 attack in this party. Woof. God, ice really just is my favorite element. But yeah, a little bit of a look there, and now sweeping right back to Ragen. Now, Ragen here, as you can see, for his resistances is quite impressive. Not Sephiroth level impressive, because elementally across the board, it's not that great. But Pierce is still a problem, and shooting is a problem, and that is kind of scary. I'm not happy to see his shooting resistance be so low, but in combination with the equipment that we have here, we have a lot of magic resistance, a lot of strike resistance, which is also pretty interesting, and a high amount of slash resistance, which goes along with his counter ability. Now, his counter ability is basically, if he gets hit with certain types of attacks, they get reduced in damage. Unless something in the Wotv calc is different. This is how I'm reading this. Not sure on the amounts, but it is decreasing slash and strike resistance. Now, strike teams actually getting stronger, so an interesting inclusion. And slash, well, there's a million slash characters in this game, so sure, fine enough. In terms of status resistance, frostbite, blind, here, in a combination from equipment and whatnot. Stomp and don't move, which is an interesting combination. Like, basically, he feels like an ice character that is kind of built against other ice. As for his support skills, incredibly impressive. I mean, here we're looking at just attack power up for like a attacker and a slash base unit, but the really big thing here is when his HP falls below 50%, he gets that kind of boost that is really nice. He has the snow level boost built in here. You can't cancel this out. You can't get rid of it. So if he does survive and you build this guy to be fairly like HP stacked, you can get a pretty good heal off of this and keep going. I think it's really good. And of course, he does have courage / guts / immortal spirit / whatever the hell we're calling it. So the potential of him surviving a fatal hit is quite high, and then restoring HP and just being able to kill the opponent, which is really, really good. Here, we're looking at elemental chain resistance, something that we saw most recently on Alphonse Elric. I think I'm just not that FMA inclined, but we're looking at a lot of resistance here, like chaining resistance and as well as strike and slash resistance. This is why he has so much resistance built into them. But this is really good. It really works quite nicely on Alphonse against multi-chaining attacks. And I mean, he doesn't have a barrier from what I have seen, so that is a little bit discouraging because, elemental chains are normally used to try and get rid of barriers by people, so it's a little dubious. But honestly, I mean, the support skills here are just really good, and if he's ever into a slash or strike, boy, is he gonna feel strong. Now, we don't have the details about his sub jobs right now because this is just a friend unit and I didn't pull him, so sad Umbra emoji. But as you're gonna see, a lot of his kit is right down the middle. Here into the sub part of his main job, we have a couple of abilities. First off, a fire ability and an ice ability, each with a little bit of range. 3 turn down for some stuff. Damn, where did I put my actual... Thought I made notes about this. It's blanking right in my mind. But a lot of his kit is split between fire and ice. Here we have one with healing down for 3 turns. Kind of, we're just going to make a comment about Resnick, new Resnick on global, although we don't have the details for that. And the other one, ice, does give a frostbite, but you're going to notice really, really short ranges on this. And this is a problem I have with his kit. Looking across all of his abilities, very, very short range. Super dangerous character when he gets close, but if he isn't close, it does feel a little bit like we are missing out on some stuff. And at the beginning of the year, I was quite hyped about Wingstern, but Wingstern also has a similar kind of range issue. It can sometimes be good, but with some of, shooting characters just having such dominance in a lot of meta aspects, it is kind of concerning. But again, ice, fire, a couple of supports, and just kind of goes in that pattern. His job level 25 removes haste and protect, which is good for him. Also, something of note, most of his attacks end up being a multi-hitter. Here he has a support skill not only for himself, but for others as well, that gives ice, dark, and wind resistance. So he's absolutely deadly against wind. He's pretty good into the mirror matchup with ice because he has fire-related attacks. And even just a little bit of support against dark is kind of interesting because dark with Sephiroth, pretty strong right now. So getting a little bit of extra resistance there, pretty nice. But other than that, just bunch of different attacks. His primary one dealing a large amount of damage, which is nice, and also reducing quickness, which is pretty good. You know, I'm pretty happy with that. Looking at here, we also have this one, which increases his ice and fire killer, and I do believe it does remove immortal spirit off of it, or courage, or guts, or just don't have a set term for that. So that's pretty good. And here we haven't actually, this is his survive 1 lethal hit of damage. And when it is in effect, when he does have his guts up, he'll also get increased reaction block rating, as well as decreasing his AP. Overall, it is a really solid kit with a lot of good stuff here, and he seems like a really, really good character. But I'm super shy about the range here. Like, everything about his initial range feels really worrying, and he doesn't have the shooting resistance, at least in the initial part of his kit, to be really good. And ice mirrors are almost always against at least one range character. I mean, maybe there's a couple of mages which you would feed off of, but here it does feel a little weak. So we're going to go in here, we're going to test him out a little bit and see if we can't get some early numbers on stuff, because I'm curious about how much resistance we're doing here, what his damage looks like, what his AP consumption looks like, because all of this stuff is just not up on Wotv calc yet. Let's pass right through and right on down. So the first one I want to check out, we're going to see 43 AP, 29, 16, 28, all of that. And we are going to be making sure that we are casting our Guts ability first, because I want to see the AP reduction off of this. Get through a whole bunch of turns. And let's... Oh, we're going to have to wait a while, aren't we? I'm so scared of the low-level wind units. Hold me. Alright, so goes down to 29 AP for his limit burst. It's a pretty nice AP reduction across everything here. Now, if we were just to glance over here, taking a shot. Woo! I mean, I know these are weak enemies, but still, that seems pretty good. Not the super highest chance of being able to cast Frostbite, though. But yeah, you can see multiple of his attacks just have the chaining aspect to it, and quite high. Reminds me a lot of initial looks at Lightning, when she was able to really push how much damage she was doing. Ragen feels quite strong. I do have a plethora of Ice VCs, but let's take a look just with against some other units such as Barris, Alaya, Snow, and kind of seeing what kind of damage we can do against them. Because again, part of the thing here is we are curious about how much we can do against the Ice Mirror matchup. Also, not strictly related to this, but FF12 music will continue in the videos until morale improves. So interesting, as we are taking a look at dealing damage to specific units, either via AoE damage or potentially against just like single target damage, we can see here that this is a little bit more concerning, not too terribly much. He is still dealing a lot of damage against really strong units. But his fire abilities, where one would consider him to potentially excel, do feel like potentially maybe that we're not getting enough, although we do get some ice killer from some of them as well. So that is interesting. Let's take a really quick look, and we're going to use Zoma here. who is a more recent unit on the global, so I think it's pretty good. So remember this, 10%, 8%, 30%. Those are the numbers that we want to take note of. We're going to get that nice little boost there. As you can see, there was a little bit of an extra boost for him, not for him. And there's what we're looking at. So we're looking at a increase 33%, 55%, and 25%. So his ability will boost a 25% boost against these specific elements. Not bad. Pretty nice. Just get rid of some of these guys so we can focus a little bit more. And you know what? Let's give them a speed boost so we can get a few extra turns here. Now we're going to cast this ability. Get a couple of hits in there. Jump up. And wait until our next turn so we can see. I mean, like, his AP acquisition is quite good because we've done a bunch of stuff already. And as you can see, he still has 75 AP. Not bad. See, this is one of the things where I'm less impressed with him if we're just doing a little bit of a fly by our seats evaluation. I am concerned that basically, you know, we've kind of cast the abilities that are supposedly going to help us against this, but our fire-based attacks are even not killing Eliza. Now, Eliza has 8,000 HP, which might be more than a little charitable than when we were in PvP or 3-on-3, because actually we're getting like we have more ice VCs than we would normally have. But even against snow, it feels. So let's take a break and get some other units to try attacking him. Specifically, Barris, who I think is a unit that you would commonly run into. That's pretty good. If we're looking at comparative damage versus how much someone would be doing to him versus how much we are doing to them, this feels way better. Even with the ice debuff here, we're still only doing about 2,300. So Mage is not feeling super good at this point. Let's try his next one, which is supposedly against Strike. Now, this feels definitely more worrying here because, as you can see, we are dealing really good damage against him. And fairly consistently. So let's pick one of our attacks, just this one right here, and we're going to try and hit him and see if his counter procs. There was a little bit of an animation, so it might have actually procced there. And, of course, the potential killing blow of a ranged character, which, honestly, I might need to move just a little bit further away. This is not the best map for this. Oh, good, I can shoot him in the back. Something I've always wanted to do. So without running any extra buffs here, a much bigger chunk. I'm curious as to like a lot of the like actual mechanics going on behind here, where very clearly he is kind of built to be against right now mages and slash and even strike, but strike was dealing pretty good damage, and again, range seems to also be doing pretty good against him. So if we hit him with this... Sorry? 5,700 HP heal. Not bad. Now, if we were to hit him again, another one, we're getting the elemental chain, but remember, he does have that elemental chain resistant bonus. So that's keeping him probably a lot safer than what we are seeing, and can't really remove that, so it looks pretty good. All right, go off and kill some people. So yeah, my initial thoughts are as such with this character. He definitely seems really quite good. I am really concerned about his range in terms of PvP because I've seen this before. I have experienced this at the beginning of the year. Not having good range sucks a lot. He really will make a difference if you're going up against just ice teams. He'll feel quite good and give ice a little more range in the elements that it has just particularly really good matchups into. I am probably the most curious for when I do my next testing video of trying him against a mostly dark team, because that's one of the matchups with his extra dark resistance. I'm curious if it really makes a difference, because when I'm an ice elemental team, it feels a lot of the time like I can't necessarily get a win in PvP versus dark. So I wonder if he and him would make a difference. But like, his kit is really nice and synergistic, especially if you don't get just removed your gut status effect. You're getting a lot of AP savings value off of it. His fire attacks are really neat, and it feels like a better version of Sakura in some cases. But is he a must pull? Probably not. I think the thing that's going to hold him back the most is the prominence of range characters in elements such as lightning, ice, and a few others. And I think just his own range being so short isn't really doing him any favors. But to end off this video, I'm going to be nice and do a poll for you guys. Now, we're probably not going to succeed, but that's okay, because that wasn't the goal. The goal is entertainment, and you stayed to the end of the video, my friend. So here, have some disappointment a la mode. Hold on. It won't be my fault that we don't get him. It will be this guy. All right, here we go. The boop on the nose on the microphone is the pull. Excellent. I have absolved myself of all failures. And let me tell you, that's really what we're here for. That's what I'm here for anyway. All right, no reforming yet. But that could change. Okay, it didn't change. It didn't change. It didn't change. As always, sadness might be in our future. It might be. This one might reform. In that case, that one up there is a rainbow. It didn't, though. Isn't that sad? It's sad, yes. Not getting any extra help today, and... Ooh, Schultz. Schultz is not a good way. But anyway. It's fine. Like, this is a character that I think will be a good pull, like, potentially later down the line. He's permanent addition to the pool. Not something that anybody with a specialized ice team already is really going to need to run out and get. Because, let's face it, Varus is already strong and getting upgraded in a week. Alaya is already incredibly strong in her updates in the future. And Eliza is also pretty damn strong. And Snow is pretty damn strong. Ice didn't really need another meta tier unit. But you know what? I'm not going to say it. Ragen's not bad. I'm not saying that at all. I think he's quite good. But probably not a mandatory pull for everybody. That honor probably still only is reserved for Sephiroth. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Take care. See you next time.